Book Dragons, Lori here. I'm back to have announced something sort of fun. I've been toying with the idea of a couple of years of doing my own reading challenge, and I finally got up the courage to do it. This readathon will be a little bit different. It's currently hosted by me and Caffeinated Covers, and a couple of other people might participate throughout the year. But I just sort of wanted to sit down and explain the rules to you because it could come across a little bit confusing. If you've been following me on Instagram, you probably saw me tease a few things. So yeah, I'm really excited. I don't know how this is going to go, as always, but I'm hoping people will participate and get bingos, and I'll explain all the rules. And we can have a fun year of reading. So let's get into it. It's going to be a year-long reading challenge, but it's going to be a little bit different. So I am a mood and seasonal reader. I always have been, more so in later years, I would say, but this is going to be a seasonal reading challenge. So there's going to be either 4 or 5 boards that are going to be released every single year. Starting with fall. Fall is going to go from September to November, the end of November, the last day of November. We might have a holiday board. I think we probably will. We'll have like a Christmas board for December, which will only be 1 month. And then we're going to have, if things go well, a winter, spring, and summer board. So you have a lot of time to do these boards. There's also 3 levels of the board, so I'm going to show you that now. The first level is Lover, Book Lover. Then it's Bookworm, and then it's Book Dragon. And as your boards go up, they get a little bit harder, obviously. So let's show you the boards. So here's the board. You guys just saw it. And it is going to be, every board has a little bit different rules. The Book Lovers board, the smallest board, has a few different rules. You can only use 1 board per bingo. So like if you read a book set in a school and it's also a thriller and you're in the same bingo line, you can only use that book once. But if it's in 2 different bingos, you can use the book again, just because the Book Lover board is super small. And then when you get up to the Bookworm and Book Dragon, you can use your books more often because there's more prompts, a lot more prompts. Book Lover is probably the smallest. And there's always going to be like a fall activity or like a seasonal activity, and then there's going to be a prompt that goes along with it. So like going back to school, and then you have to read a book set in school. Again, this is all up to your interpretation. A couple of them are like more unique and more different as you get up in them. But I just thought it was fun. Me and like Caffeinated Covers like sat on Google for like, I don't know. And a couple of the other prompts is like read a book set in school, read a dark romance, read a book with an orange or black cover. There's also one that's like not for Laura's bookish life because I don't like horror, so read like a horror book. I think there's one book set in olden time, set in the past, because our group book, which I'm going to talk about later, is set in the past. And yeah, so there's a bunch of different prompts. Bingo for book lovers is 3 across, and every single time you get bingo or you black out your board, you get to submit for a bingo, and that will go to the submission form, which I will also have linked in the Google Drive. I haven't done that yet, but it will be there when this goes live. But yeah, it's just meant to be fun. And then I'm also going to go over like the rules as well. And then before I go over the rules, I'm going to show you guys the other 2 much more challenging boards. So let's take a peek at the Book Lovers board. A little bit more challenging. We have a couple of more unique prompts. We have like read a book you're unsure about, read a book about the end of things, maybe like the end of a duology, the end of a series, read a witchy book, which is my favorite prompt. I love witches. They're like my favorite paranormal creature. Read a book about a paranormal creature. Just a lot of different options. Again, your movie prompt, and I did look it up. I'm going to go over the rules in a little bit, but you can only use 1 book per bingo, but you can use it twice on each board. So keep that in mind. And then there will be also ways to like remove prompts from your board as well, or like X out a prompt, especially when you get to the Book Dragon board, because that's probably the hardest. But again, it's just meant to be fun. I like making these boards a lot. It was really, really fun. But now let's take a peek at the Book Dragonborn, which is definitely the most challenging because it's 5 across. the most challenging board. It probably took me the most to come up with it, but I really, really loved it. It's 5 across, and again, as I said before, you can use one book per bingo. So like every single time you get bingo, you can only use the board book once, but you can use it twice per board. Yeah, so those are the rules for that. I think that that will be super fun. These books, again, this is not meant to be done in a weekend. It's not meant to be done in a week. It's meant to be in over 3 full months. So I think that once you sort of add up all your fall reads, if you're anything like me and you're very much a seasonal reader, I think you will have fun with this. And now let's get into the official rules. I could either have made this super simple or super complicated. I went somewhere in the middle, but I mostly made it complicated for me because I like a good challenge, and I hope you guys will agree. Attach these rules in the PowerPoint and will be linked below. But you should start with a focus. Do you want to do the lovers, the worm, or the dragon board? So you should only be working on one board at a time, or I think it would definitely get confusing. All boards and book submissions must be due November 30th through the Google form, which I will have linked in my description box. Caffeinated Covers will probably have it as well, and I will try to link it in the Google Doc as well. Bingos are to be submitted through the Google form linked below, and it will be found on our channels and our socials. So don't like go to my videos and say, oh, I got bingo, because you're not going to be counted. You have to do it through the form for it to be official. Or don't DM me on Instagram like, oh, I have a bingo. Do it through the form or it's not going to count and you're not going to be eligible for it to win. If you read the group book, which we have decided is going to be the Hacienda, you get to remove one prompt from your board. There's also going to be other ways to remove prompts. I'm going to talk about that in a separate graphic. But again, we did talk about this challenge, and we are encouraging people to read diversely, read outside your comfort zone, read different people's experiences. I just think it's why I read. So again, I'm just encouraging people to do that. And if you do that and you do follow those recommendations, you will get to remove more prompts, and you'll see that in a subsequent graphic. But yeah, so that's that. But we are reading the Hacienda. I think our group chat's gonna be like in November, I think. So we're gonna have a book club meeting on the Hacienda. So I'm super excited. That book has been on my TBR for quite a while, and I'm excited that we chose it. And we'll have more information like as that. Single time you get a bingo, you get to submit, your bingo. But also when you black out a board, so if you completely fill up a board of prompts, you also get to submit again. And that is just like you got to black out your board. So you get another entry into the drawing. So make sure if you do black out your board, if you are able to do that, that you do submit it twice, and you do click the link on the form that says I blacked out my bingo board, which will be exciting because then you'll get another entry into the drawing. Oh, and then I'm just talking again about how you can't reuse a book for bingo, but you can reuse it twice on each board, especially as the boards get larger. I think that'll be helpful. With the book lovers board, it's only 3 prompts, so you really can't, but as the bingos get higher, you can at least reuse it twice on a board. And again, this is over the course of 3 months, so I think it will make it challenging but also fun, especially if you like a challenge like me. And the prizes we're going to determine at the end. Right now I'm anticipating 2 winners per each board, and we'll figure out the prizes at a later date. I have no idea how many people are going to participate. We'll see. So it may just be myself and I, but I hope not, because I really had fun making these boards. It was a super fun time. And each board has 2 winners, and I will send it out at the end of 2022, early 2023. I think I said 2 winners on the graphic, but we'll see. That's the plan right now. Check out other ways to remove a prompt from the boards. I will go over that in the other graphic, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then the submission form is also linked on this graphic, but I'm also going to have it linked below in my comments, and I'm also going to try to put it in the Google Drive. Now let's get to how you can remove prompts from your bingo board. Again, one way you can remove a prompt is if you read the group book, The Hacienda, but there's a couple other ways as well, just to make it more challenging and more fun. So the next graphic you're going to see is how you can remove some prompts from it. And the first thing that I came up with was read the group book The Hacienda by Elizabeth Canas, which we talked about. I went over that already. Read a book by a BIPOC author. Again, pretty simple. Read a book about an LGBTQ plus author. Read a book about an author you know is not from America. Read a translated book. Reread an old favorite. Post your TBR on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok, and make sure you tag us so we know you're doing it. That will be a fun, easy way, and hopefully it will up our social media presence. Again, I just am really excited. The whole plan of this is just to sort of do seasonal reads. The goal is to have 4 to 5 rounds each year, and every board will be a little bit different. Again, we've also talked about doing a weekend reading vlog. We've also talked about doing reading sprints. We've also talked about doing like more ways to remove prompts. So I don't know. It's all up in the air. It's just curious to see how many people think they're going to participate. If you think you're going to participate, I would love for you to comment below and tell me what board you're going to start with. I think I'm probably going to start with the book lovers board just because I'm heading back to school. I think will give me like a shorter timetable to start with. But I don't know. That's sort of where I think I'm going to start. I think I'm going to start with the book lovers board just because the bookworm board because that's the second board. But I would love to hear your thoughts like below, like if you think you're going to participate, if you like it, if you're intrigued, if you're going to read our group book. I, again, am someone that really likes to check stuff off my list. This seems like the perfect challenge for me. And I'm also very, very much a seasonal reader. So let's get reading. It's reading time, friends. Whether it's winter, spring, summer, or fall, it's always reading time. So let's start reading. Let's start planning our TBRs. And I'll talk to you soon for our next video. And make sure you go follow Caffeinated Covers. I will have her linked below. Yeah, and I'll talk to you guys for my next video soon. Bye, friends.